Hello guys, I have my therapy box here. I'm gonna start with Mr. Potato Head. You can use him for following 1 or 2 step directions. I have my stuffed animal. His name is Melvin. You can use him for emotional support. For example, if you have a newer client and they come in and they're still shy, if they hold him, it might make them more likely to open up to you. I have my puzzle. You can use this for targeting a goal like making requests if they need to get another piece or something like that. I have my 2 children's books, The Princess and the Frog and Griff Learns to Fly. You can use this when you're targeting fluency by reading with your kid. I have my coloring book. You can use this for really any activity. You can use this as the activity between trials, just to give them a little break so they are excited to finish their picture. I have my blocks. These are wooden blocks. You can also use this for following directions or targeting something like prepositions. Here's my toy telephone. It also has a mirror, so that's cool. You can use this for working on conversations. The kid can pretend they're on the phone, and you can pretend you're on the other side. Okay. I have my noisemaker. I made this one. It's just beans, and it has a few colorful beads in there. You can use this for kids with autism, for example, who might need a noisemaker to get their attention, to focus them on what you're trying to get them to work with. I have my bubbles. And one way that I've used this in clinic is when a child does not want to leave, but it's time for them to leave. You blow bubbles while you're leaving so that they want to follow you with the bubbles. I have these reward stickers. Obviously, they can be used at the end of the session to reward the child for the work that they've done for that day. Hand sanitizer. You can use this before you start your session, before the kids touch any of your materials. I have my mirror, and you can use this to show the child what they look like when they're making a certain sound, to help them correct whatever sound they're making. I have my voice recorder. You can use this to record trials, listen to them later, or even just show it to the parent. My timer, I would use my phone for that. And that could be used for breaks in between trials so that the kid can hear the timer going off so they know it's time to get back to the activity. I have my Hot Wheels cars. And these can be used, especially with boys that love Hot Wheels. It can be used for doing things such as following directions or labeling and naming. I have my Tubaloo. This is really good for auditory feedback so that the child knows what they sound like with whatever sound you're trying to target. I have my construction paper, and this is good to use for crafts, or like the Hadley Simu case, the SLPA used it for different grouping techniques with the puzzles. We have crayons and markers for crafts, or you could use it for making requests. I have my glue stick. Again, this can be used for crafts, following directions. These are the balls I chose. This one is my normal ball, and this is my squishy ball. These can be used for sensory, for kids who really could use sensory toys. I have my small farm animals in this too. This can be used for language, or even if you're just trying to get a child to use onomatopoeias if they're nonverbal. This is really good. I have Candyland for my simple board game. I have used this in between trials. It's a good motivator for trying to get your activity done. The kids like try to beat you when they do this with you. For my card game, I chose I Spy because you can go by the game rules, or you can just show them one of the cards and try to get them to label whatever you're showing them. I have my big spoons and small spoons, and my big cups and little cups. And you can use these for describing, or you can use them to help the kid understand functions of everyday objects. I have my tongue depressors. You can use these when you're targeting articulation. For example, if you're working on the k sound and they're saying t, you can use this to push their tongue down and help them produce the correct sound. I have sticky notes. One good way that you could use these, if you're working with a worksheet with an older kid and they like to jump ahead of things, you can use this to cover up the trials until you're ready to go over them. I have my clipboard. I've used this so many times for taking notes, especially if you're not on a table and you're on the floor using an activity. I have my pencils and pens. This can be used for taking notes, or if you're carefully watching the child, they can use it for certain activities. My dry erase board. I've used this for tic-tac-toe before, for an activity, for motivation. First aid kit, it's always good to have one just in case they get a paper cut or something like that, even if it's not that big of a cut, just to help them feel better. Or they can describe the function of the things in here. And this is the small kids toy I chose. I really like Slinkies, and pretty sure most kids do too. And it's really good for sensory also. And that's all.